I'm just putting a quarter just behind the ball. And what I want you to do is try and pick up the quarter with your club face on the way through. So I want you to try and collect that quarter. So you're going to set up with the sternum left.
Okay.
You're going to feel you stay left or go further left and then pick up that quarter.
So it's like I'm trying to hit behind the ball a little bit on purpose.
Yes. And that is money.
Yeah. Hey guys, Eric out here at the beautiful Lagorce Country Club in Miami Beach, Florida. To my left, Mr. David Armitage. David, thanks for having us out here.
Thank you, Eric.
David is a Golf Digest Best Young Coach, amongst many other things. You guys have probably seen him in some videos before. If not, you're gonna really enjoy today's video on really what we believe is the best chipping method that we can teach you. We'll talk about that in a minute. If you guys do like this video as we go, do us a favor, smash that like button, that gray thumbs up. Really helps us out. That would mean a lot. Click the subscribe button if you haven't. Also leave a comment down below. Let's keep the conversation going. What do you struggle with chipping? What sort of videos would you like to see? What do you think about today's video? Do you love David? Would you like to see more videos? Let's keep the conversation going. Would also love to coach you guys and work with you guys at CogornoGolf.com. I'm telling you, the online coaching is just as good and effective as our in-person coaching. Would love to see you at Cogorno Golf. You could send in your videos. We build you a specific practice plan. Like David and I were just talking about, you need feedback when you practice. We need to see your swings. We could put together a specific practice plan. Come down to Miami Beach, come see David, or hop over to Cogorno Golf. Either one, we'll be happy with that. So, David, chipping. Now, I'm happy we're doing this video because this is something that I have in my chipping game, right? Something that I potentially struggle with. But the topic or the title of today's video is the #1 chipping method, right? And so if there were a couple key principles, if myself and maybe 100 of us were sitting back and we said, all right, David, talk to us about chipping, right? What are the key things that we want to have, a couple things as take-homes? What might be a couple of the main principles we want to focus on to have better chipping?
Well, I think first of all, it's been
in there, Dave. You can hop in there.
It's been a sort of epidemic, let's say, a different type, chipping over the last couple of years. We've seen so many of the best players struggle with it, especially as tight as agronomy's got so good now. We see more and more of these tight lies around the greens. Yeah. For me, though, it's all about the shafted impact, okay? So we either can see the shaft being leaned too far forward, which puts the club in a digging position, or vice versa, we could see the club, too far back, which is a scooping position, which is going to make it hard to make contact also. So I work all my coaching back with the chipping, and the tour players included, is basically looking at that shafted impact, and I want it fairly neutral. There's always going to be a little bit of shaft lean, maybe 4 or 5 degrees, but nothing sensational. So nothing like this and nothing like this. So both bad shots. The duff into the ground, rolling the sod over it, that club has to be in a digging position. The thin across the green, that club mostly is going to be in sort of this position. Then from there, what I'm looking at is trying to get the body to match up with that. What I normally see is, to tie in with the shaft going forward, is that body will be back. And
that's the Eric special.
That's the Eric special. We're going to fix that today. Yeah. And then obviously when I see that club sort of scooping too much as well, it's a tendency that body goes back as well. So mostly we see that body going backwards. And what I see with a lot of great players, and I was privileged to spend time with Sevi, is that basically that body is almost starting towards the target, and as the club goes back, is going further towards the target, and is never ever going back away from the target for a chip shot, ever going back away from the target. So we're going to look today at how the club needs to be delivered and how the body needs to support it, and that is going to make not only you, Eric, a great chipper, but it's going to make everyone who watches this video much better around the greens.
Good. I need some of that. I think the one key principle that you mentioned already with the body motions, and this gets really lost on myself, and I think a lot of us normal golfers, is the idea that during my backswing, a lot of these good chippers, like you mentioned, actually go forward, not back.
100%.
And if what you said is true, and let's say at impact, we started at impact and the shaft's gonna have a few, 3, 4, 5 degrees of shaft lean. If my body goes forward, the only way for me to not have that excessive lean, right, is for me to do a little something different on the way down.
for you to reverse the sequence a little bit of what we see in the big swing. The power motion, we see the handle leading the downswing.
You get back. I don't know why I took your spot, Dave. Let me get out of here.
In the power swing, we see the sort of lower body and the handle is going to be trending towards the golf ball. But when we look at the short game, it's a finesse sequence. So we want less power. And what we're going to see is that club head sort of moving towards the golf ball first. So what I really like to see is, a lot of people, as you mentioned, they struggle with contact. So the first thing that happens is that ball position goes way back in the stance. Now you're adding more shaft lean, you're changing your body tilt. So the first thing I do is I look for a ball position that's sort of middle to maybe just even in front of middle, so fairly neutral. I look at that sternum moving forward, so it has to be ahead of the ball for me. So even if the ball position is a little further forward, that sternum has to be even more forward. So it's definitely on the front side of the golf ball, not behind the golf ball.
And you're not doing it, David, by like, if I just put the ball way back, my sternum's automatically forward. That's no bueno.
Because what most people do is when they push their weight forward, everyone knows, I hope everyone knows, that the weight should be on the lead foot at address, okay? So it should be on the front foot. So for me, on the left foot, what most people do is they put the weight forward with their lower body.
Okay.
So right now I feel like my weight's on my left side. It is on my left side, but my upper body has now gone back, and now I'm in a bad tilt, because not only am I in a bad tilt for impact, it's going to trend my backswing in the wrong place as well. So what I want you to do is stand up nice and straight, narrowish stance, it's a small shot, and let's get that sternum forward of where the ball would be. So if I just put a ball here.
So you're sort of like, you're just sort of like leaning Tower of Pisa towards the target.
100%. Okay. I like Italy, by the way.
Exactly.
Nice wines. Okay, so I'm just leaning towards the target. Okay. And now my weight's on my front side, but I've got a great matchup of the way my body's aligned. I'm not sort of pushing my hips forward and my upper body back.
I know I keep interrupting you, but let me, like, what percentage ballpark? Like, how many people who struggle with chipping don't get that part right? Like, I think that's
95% probably.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
And what you'll see is when the hips go forward, you'll see that right shoulder get lower as well.
Yeah.
The right shoulder is always going to be a little lower because the right hand's lower on the golf club, the trail hand for a right-handed golfer. But what I want to see is you almost feeling like the right shoulder's a little higher. That's a sensation that you might have in your setup position. So now we're in a really good setup here. So sternum's in front, my shoulders are more level, they're definitely not this way. My eyes are in front of the ball, or my sternum's in front of the ball, and I can just basically, if I want to test it out, you can see my nose there is way in front of the golf ball, okay? So now I'm in a really good position. Now what I'm going to say is that on the backswing, my club goes back and the head is going to almost go more towards the target. So that's what I see. When I look at great chippers, I see if I put a line on the head, it is going towards the target on the backswing. That's going to keep the club in front of us more. It's going to solve a lot of other issues. Death is around here.
Yes.
Okay. Now from there, what I want to see is that instead of us starting with our lower body, we're going to actually start with that club head. That's going to maintain the radius of the golf swing. It's not going to narrow the arc. We're going to maintain the radius. And as long as we stay left, we're going to return that shaft to where we want it to be. And then the body will follow, and we're going to finish with some pure nipped shots off these tight Bermuda lies.
The death move is like the head off the ball, the club working too far, low and inside early.
And then from there, the grip going towards the golf ball before the head of the club. So losing the radius, narrowing the radius in the downswing.
Got it. So let me hop back in here now again. Let's put some of this to the test here. So, I think if we were to do a 10-second video of this, it'd be like getting the setup piece and the upper body working towards the target a bit is like, that's the main thing.
So pre-swing is always the first thing that we're going to talk about. In any lesson you're going to take with me, it's always let's get the pre-swing working. So let's make sure that sternum is in front of the ball. Now the sternum, a great representation is just the placket on your shirt. So we want those shirt buttons in front. The ball position I'm going to have just middle to just in front of middle. Okay, always a soft grip. And now all you're going to do is you're going to stay left on the backswing, and you're going to let that club head swing through.
So as I'm starting to hit some of these here, You know, I think one of the feel things that someone's going to have, you know, I think the concept here, guys, is getting the setup pieces. What I think a lot of people are going to feel a little more forward, and I think they're going to feel like their shoulders, like their lead shoulders, a lot lower than normal, and their trail shoulders higher.
100%.
Sternum ahead of the ball. I like the drop in sort of from the nose,
Yep.
right in front. If I'm more forward this way, I'm definitely not looking to go like this, right? I'm going to be super duper steep.
Your body isn't going to do that. Like, it just isn't going to. The body's reactional, so there's always matchup. So if you keep that body left,
Yeah.
you're going to, in turn, that club head is going to start to sequence in the right way, and you're going to start to get some great strikes.
And the main point, David, in terms of me get like that was much better. Of me having a little bit of the throw, right? Like setting up more forward and steeper so that I do have a little bit more of the throw. Is that mainly based on having the bounce, like more margin of error?
So basically, you saw that ball strike there, that you interacted with the turf perfectly, the bounce of the club, and we talk about this a lot. So if the leading edge interacts with the turf, it's going to dig, and we're going to see that it gets caught in the ground, really stubs in, especially into the grain down here in Miami. So we want to interact that bounce where it's gliding over the surface. And we definitely want turf interaction, but if you're using the bounce, you can add speed at the bottom, and that club isn't going to dig. The ball's going to come out with more spin and land softer.
Like I don't have to be perfect with my contact.
Yeah. That was amazing.
Yeah, David, I think we're making a run, man. These videos are going to come to an end. We're going to do a little putting. You and I are going to be out on tour.
So I do this a lot with a lot of my tour players, is just basically just keep that head right there. So you're going to feel it almost go towards the target. And even that strike there, the bounce was definitely introduced to the ground. That means the margin of error is much greater. So if you keep your body left, and let the club swing from there naturally.
Because I want to be here.
Yeah, and then you want to, from there, you probably are going to turn off the ball, and now that's the only thing you're going to do. So right now, what we're really solving is that guy that sort of, or girl, that pulls the handle, that stubs the leading edge into the ground. And what we're trying to do is introduce more of the bounce down into the bottom of the arc. It's all about the bottom of the arc, where that contacts the ground.
I like that you said that, kind of working from that impact, where am I trying to be? So at setup position, maybe I got my hands even with or just slightly, you know, pretty neutral.
Much pointing at your belt buckle. They're not.
Okay. And I mean, I really think a lot of like where my upper body feels the leaning part, I think that's going to be the piece that a lot of people have to, like I've said that 4 times now, that you have to feel and wrap their head around, of their upper body being more forward.
100%. And it's not forward through the hips, it's forward through the upper body.
Yes, yeah.
And then
it's not forward through the hips, it's forward through the upper body.
Yeah, and then stay left.
Yeah.
And let the club swing. That was beautiful.
And then when we were doing some of this, right now I'm chipping, and you know, like the quarter concept.
Okay, so this is a great drill, but basically all I want you to do, I'm going to put the ball here.
Yeah.
And set yourself.
Fluff me up, David.
Yeah, I'm giving you a good lie here. Right. And I'm just putting a quarter just behind the ball. And what I want you to do is try and pick up the quarter with your club face on the way through. So I want you to try and collect that quarter. So you're going to set up with the sternum left.
Okay.
You're going to feel you stay left or go further left and then pick up that quarter.
So it's like I'm trying to hit behind the ball a little bit on purpose.
Yes. And that is money.
Yeah. Yeah, that's solid. I mean, it feels to me, because I'm that person, right, who has a little bit of the drag, which I know a lot of people do, especially people who, I see that with like chipping yips, or people who get a little like shaky over the ball, where it's almost always that. It's almost never the other way.
I don't see much of the other way, but the great thing about this is, if you stay left and you scooped too much, okay, I still think that you can hit good chips. So if you exaggerate the sort of scoop, maybe you're going to leave it a little short and it's going to be a little weak off the face and it may not be the most solid contact, but you're not going to hit the fins across the green.
Yes.
Where the fin comes across the screen, do you mind demoing a bad one? I know it's...
I got that in my bag.
You got that in your bag?
No
Okay.
problemo.
So where the ball's back in the stance, I want you to move off the ball on the backswing and then...
So just my normal.
Yeah, and then...
That would be like my stock.
Yeah. So you see that, look, that is a shot, you know? Like there are players that hit that shot, but that also comes with the risk of you catch that a tiny bit too heavy and it's going nowhere.
And that's exactly the thing. When I chip like that, it's like, man, if I don't hit this perfect,
Puts
I'm
pressure
in
on
big
you.
trouble.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the
then
pressure,
mentally,
it all goes back from there. So it's what we want to do is we want to stay left.
yep.
So set up left.
And I mean, I'm really feeling like I'm tossing this club head out.
As long as you stay left, you can toss that club.
And I'm more left this way, not this way.
That's a
This way.
big deal.
Okay. So my sternum's forward. I feel like my head and left shoulder are lower. I still feel you having the club on my head, like my head's pushing a little towards it.
Yep.
And then I'm throwing it a little more at the bottom. Yeah, that's
money.
beautiful. So now let's say I need to do this, right? But let's say, I mean, if there's a golfer, like, is it a thing from your perspective then for like someone to throw too early, or is that more they didn't get the setup and the body forward enough?
Well, that's what I was sort of trying to allude to, is that the guy who throws it too early, and there are those. So if you just demonstrate that,
Yeah.
not with the ball, but that throw way too early.
Something like this.
Yes. Now that looks terrible, right?
Yeah.
But if we put the body more forward, that
Yeah.
throw is more neutralized. So
Yeah.
basically, we're going to solve both problems: the early thrower that does too much throwing, and the guy who drags the handle too much or leads with the handle and digs it too much, in the one place, which is the setup, the way the body is at the start,
Perfect.
and the way the body moves on the backswing. So this is it.
Yeah.
Your body being in a better pre-swing position and staying left or going more left for a right-handed golfer on the backswing, you can almost do whatever you want on the downswing and your shots are going to improve. I'm not saying they're going to be perfect.
I think I need to do a little summary there, dude. That was perfect.
I don't say they're going to be perfect altogether,
Yeah.
but they are going to be better. So your misses get better. And by the way, confidence comes from better misses. It doesn't come from that one great shot.
Yeah.
It comes from the knowledge that if you miss hit this chip, it goes to 10 feet.
Yeah.
If you hit a great chip to a foot and then the next one goes into the bunker over the green, you're not going to gain confidence. But
Yeah.
if the misses start getting better, that's where the confidence really grows in a golfer, because they realize they can score even if they're not playing well. Now they
perfect
improve their
sense.
confidence.
Yeah. Because my confidence is low is when I'm worried about the skull or the chunk or the goofy shot.
100%. So let's get rid of the goofy shots
Yeah.
and let's lower that handicap.
So upper body more forward at setup. Like if I'm writing this on a note card, I'm like, man, I'm going to forget this next week. Upper body more forward at setup, sternum in front of the ball, and then have my everybody stay forward or go forward.
Yes,
That's the starting point.
absolutely.
And then we can look to throw. I like that little coin, maybe an inch behind the ball.
you can use it. You can use a ball mark, like one of those flat ball markers.
Okay.
Anything that you can pick, try and have the image of picking it up on the downswing
Yeah.
is going to really help you.
Hit it a little behind on purpose with the bounce,
Yeah.
margin of error. Dude, perfect. Love it.
Did
Thank
great
you.
there.
So, guys, that's really the chipping method that I'm going to start to use. We talked a little bit about that. I did that when I was chipping my best before, kind of got away from it. I'm going back to it. This is what David sees the best players in the world doing. You guys should do the same thing. If you guys did enjoy this video, we're going to put a similar video up here. Go ahead and click that and watch that. If you do want to check out Cogorno Golf and you can't come down to Miami Beach to see David, would love to see you there. We'll put that logo on the screen. Thank you guys for watching.